Hello everyone and welcome back to Ruler 101! This is quickly becoming my favorite series to record, honestly, just because I'm discovering all these cards that I never would have thought of using otherwise, and it's just expanding my, just the card database that I have in my head. But anyway, today was really fun just thinking about the deck and what you would kind of use, with her. I'm talking, of course, about Snow White! Yep, that's just Snow White. She doesn't have a title. And she only has 2 J-activate abilities. 1, pay white, red, and 2. Or 2, pay 1, discard Poison Apple. We'll get into what Poison Apple is later, but let's just jump straight to her J-Ruler side. A 13-13 beautiful body. Alright, she is a Nightmare Human. 13-13, obviously. Target attack, that's precision for those of you who are not from the old generation. And activate rest target J Resonator, and activate pay 1, discard Poison Apple, destroy target Resonator. She is so good. That is so good. Off of a 1 cost. A 1 cost! One! Judgment. And discarding a single Poison Apple, you get a 13-13 target attack that's just going to wreck your opponent's board. And even if it can't kill your opponent's J-Ruler, if their J-Ruler is somehow a 14-14 or higher, she can still rest it and prevent it from doing anything. And if they play a huge Resonator that you can't deal with, just freaking rest it! Oh my god! This is an amazing card. I love it. And being able to just discard a Poison Apple and blow something up, which if you've seen Poison Apple, you know that it's a pretty limited focus card, and giving it that extra ability is awesome. Now, admittedly, if you don't get a Poison Apple in your starting hand or within your first couple of draws, you're going to have to flip later, and she's going to be not as good. However, she provides a massive advantage as far as board state goes. Also, I mean, look at her. That art is beautiful. Bring back that artist. I haven't searched arts in a while, but that artist is just godly. This is so cool. Such a cool art. But we should really get into the support cards, starting with that way. Little Red, Hope of Millennia. Alright, so it's Little Red. So she was already she's a ruler that comes later, and she's been a big prominent figure in Force of Will for a long time. She has been some of the best cards. But her first card, it was really bad. This card is terrible outside of any deck that isn't Snow White. Or in any deck that isn't Snow White. And it's pretty obvious to see why. Okay, so 1-drop red. She's a 200-200. Awakening red. When this card enters your field, search your main deck for a card with Granny in its name, reveal it, and put it into your field. So that's pretty good, honestly. 2 red for 2 Resonators. And once you see Granny, you'll see that her stat line is pretty crazy. However, her next ability is what really makes the card. Rest. Discard a card with Apple in its name. That's any card with Apple. So, Poison Apple, Clockwork Apple Bomb, Amy Apple even from Vingolf 2. Yeah, y'all thought I forgot about that? No, I didn't. This card deals 1,000 damage to target Resonator. So you just get to nuke a Resonator by resting her. 1,000 damage, by the time she's in the field, even if you wait a turn to awaken her, that is destroying a Resonator. There are very few Resonators that can take 1,000 damage and live. And those are all late game plays, which, as early as you're dropping her, you're not going to worry about it. But the fact that you don't have to pay any will into the rest ability is also amazing. Yes, you're discarding a card, but you don't really care because the cards with Apple in their name are kind of not the best, to be fair. But let's get into that card that she directly references, Granny. Granny by the Fireplace. A 100-1200 for 3. You never want to draw this. Maybe a 1 of, maybe a 2 of. Continuous. Whenever a werewolf enters your field, switch the attack and defense of this card until end of turn. So she becomes a 12-100. No, keep her for blocking. She's good like that. Admittedly, she could just be nuked. However, the fact that you have probably only paid 1 will for her is awesome. It is definitely something to, like, she is going to block all the early game resonators. Like, all of them. Any kind of aggression that you might face, she can block them. And if you happen to have werewolves, which I would run 1 or 2 just so you can get that effect and, like, swing with her and maybe get a huge hit in, she becomes just, like, a super attacker, but her defense becomes 100 and she gets Tama'd instantly. Like, done. However, if your opponent has an open board, oh boy. Oh boy! Next up, though, I want to touch on one of the Apple cards that I would use. Well, no. First of all, I'm going to bring up the Apple support card that lets you get all these apples in your hand. Because without some kind of support grabbing you apples, you're not going to be good in any way. Like, you're not going to get anything from it. I'm talking, of course, Basket of Little Red. A 2 red Edition Resonator. It's an arcane item. Was never referenced. Arcane items were never used. Give me an arcane item use! Continuous. Added Resonator gains. Activate Rest. Search your main deck for a card with Apple in its name. Reveal it and put it into your hand. Then shuffle your main deck. That is really good. Being able to, like, just search a card with Apple. Poison Apple, Clockwork Apple Bomb, Amy Apple even, if you want to just go that far. Or, one card you'll see in a little bit, Snow White with the Crystal Apple. Just being able to search it out is really good. That's free card advantage, like effectively drawing you a second card each turn. And you can activate Pay Red, return this card to its owner's hand, so you don't have to worry about the Resonator getting blown up. It's a really good card to just throw on like a Granny or a Little Red, just because you always will have that activate ability available. Now, what are you going to be searching with that basket? I'll talk about the Resonator first, just because it's really easy. Snow White of the Crystal Apple. 2 white and 2. Attack 0, defense 0. This card enters your field with 2 100/100 counters on it for each light magic stone you control. Okay. Her activate ability is white, remove a +1/+1 counter from this card, put a +1/+1 counter on another target light chosen. Ignore that. That card is okay at best. It works for the combo that I put in the deck, but it's okay at best. But entering the field with 2 +1/+1s for each, like, by the time you're hard casting her for 4, she is going to be an 8/8. But later on in the game, she can be a 10/10, a 12/12, a 14/14 even. She gets huge. And her ability to move counters onto other light resonators is a little bit relevant in most decks that are running light. You're probably running another light resonator like Arthur or something. But Arthur is just a big blocker that kills a lot of things. You have to attack it. But he's not in this deck. However, this card can get huge. Like, enormous. But she's not the only card with Apple in a name. Let's go over Clockwork Apple Bomb first. A. Clockwork Apple Bomb. Whoa. B. Trigger. If your ruler is Snow White, or your J ruler is Bloody Snow White, destroy a blocking resonator and a blocked resonator. It is a trigger effect, so you put it face down in your standby area for 2, and then you can activate it for free. Or you can pay the red and 2 in order to play it from your hand. So it destroys an attack. Basically, you block something, like you throw a chump blocker in front of something, then you activate this, it destroys both the blocking resonator and the block resonator. Then it deals 500 damage to each controller of those resonators. So you're taking 500 to face, but your opponent is also taking 500 to face and losing a resonator to this. Usually, they are going to lose more than you are. You're going to chump block and use this. You're not going to use it on like a significant block or something. Or if they try to kill your blocker, You can then play the Clockwork Apple Bomb and basically destroy their hopes of killing that Resonator and getting direct damage to your face. So there's that option. Then, of course, we have the next Apple card. This Apple card is one of my personal favorites. It went in a deck a while ago, the Yamada no Arachi deck, and if you've ever experienced that, oh boy, I can't wait till I get to a deck list that uses that combo. But, for now, Poison Apple. Target Resonator gains plus 1000 0 until end of turn. At end of turn, destroy it. For 1 red and 1. So, for that, and it is a chant instant. So you can play this at instant speed after no blockers. So you don't have to just sacrifice the Resonator at the beginning of your turn. You can wait until there's no blockers, then play this, and then just stomp them in the face for 1000. That is a fourth of their life. This card is amazing for closing out games. And if you're running this J-Ruler, oh my god, you can just discard it to her. You can discard it to Little Red, Hope of Millennia for 1000 damage to a thing. It's so good. Like, it is so just amazingly good. Okay. But, that pretty much does it for the Apple cards and the Apple Synergy and the Snow White. I would like to mention a couple Resonators just because they are really relevant to the deck. Mainly red-white, just because you want to be able to Judgment even if it gets to turn 4. But the card that I think is very abusable with Poison Apple is Rapunzel, the long-haired princess. A 600/600 for 2 white and 1. Continuous. This card doesn't recover during the recovery phase. Okay. Activate. Rest a recovered Resonator you control other than Rapunzel, the long-haired princess. Recover this card. See where I'm going with this? You see where I'm going? Rest. Activate Rest. Target Resonator gains plus 200 0 and flying until end of turn. You see where I'm going with this? Okay, so here's what happens. Your opponent, or you have Rapunzel. You let the turn go by, your opponent swings, your opponent does whatever. Then on your turn, before recovery, well, not before recovery because it doesn't matter, but you activate on your turn, you activate Rapunzel to give herself plus 200 0. She becomes an 800/600 flying. Then you play your Poison then you swing with her. If they don't have an area blocker, they take 800 to the face. But they don't actually take 800 to the face because then you play Poison Apple and give her a 1000 power boost. So then she's hitting your opponent for 1800. But that's not where it ends, because then you rest your Little Reds, you rest your Grannies, you rest your other Resonators that you have on the field, and recover her and attack any number of times, like only limited by the other Resonators you have. So, okay, so 1800, you only need to hit your opponent 3 times. So you will only need to have 3 other Resonators. Also, if your opponent just doesn't have Resonators, like if they don't have any blockers, you can forgo the resting her and then still get the 3 hits in of 1600. So, like, this is a game-ending card. Admittedly, it's coming out on turn 4. However, if later in the game you do something like play a the Shining Demon Mephistopheles that allows you to rest 2 Resonators to rest one of their Resonators, and just rest all their stuff before recovery, you can get some serious damage in. Especially because you're searching out Poison Apples and Clockwork Apple Bomb, so you're destroying their world, or you're destroying their board, while prepping for a massive attack. And if you happen to have 2 Poison Apples on the turn, because it is turn 4, you can pump 2 Poison Apples into her. And as long as you have 2 other Resonators, she's going, well, 3, still 3. No, if they don't have blockers, 2, if they have blockers, 3. Because she needs to rest and, you know. But, anyway, also before recovery, if you have rested Resonators, or if you have recovered Resonators, like things that didn't block, you can rest her to pump herself, and then rest that Resonator to recover her, then rest her to pump herself, and then rest that other Resonator to recover her. And then you recover all your Resonators, and then she can swing for like 1000 damage. Like, she is so good as long as you have little spammy Resonators. And Little Red, the Hope of Millennia, being able to drop 2 Resonators for 2 will is really good with her. I'm sorry, I love this card. I love the concept of attacking multiple times. Like, during the height of Lapis Cluster, I had an Alhama Ott deck that abused the dragon power to recover a Dragonoid and swing and swing and swing. But, anyway. After that, Rapunzel kind of formed, because any Resonator that gets multiple attacks is going to be abused by Poison Apple. Or with Poison Apple. But then we want other Resonators to kind of supplement that. Starting with the Shining Demon Mephistopheles. A 500/500, Will of Hope. Rest 2 recovered Resonators you control. Rest target J Resonators. He's really good for like leaving all your stuff up and then before recovery, taking out all their blockers by resting them, and then he has Sealed 4. This card, as long as you have 4 or more Magic Stones, he gains +200/+200 and flying. So he becomes a 7/7 flyer for 2. That's pretty strong. But his ability to rest stuff is even stronger when you consider you're going to be spamming out Resonators. Another card that I wanted to mention, just because of Clockwork Apple Bomb, Snow White the Avenger from Vingolf 3, so you probably don't have it. An 800/800 for 1 white, 1 red, and 1. She has Precision naturally, and this card gains First Strike as long as your life is 3,000 or less. This card gains Swiftness as long as your life is 2,000 or less, and this card gains +4/+4 as long as your life is 1,000 or less. So, just a couple Clockwork Apple Bombs, maybe taking a hit to the face while you're preparing the Rapunzel Rush, can get you pretty low. So you can throw her out and she'll be like a 8/8 First Strike Precision, so she can just wipe your opponent's board. And because of her precision, she can prematurely take out blockers for your big Rapunzel swing. And even later game, if you manage to get to get to 1,000 or less, she is a 12/12 Swiftness First Strike Precision. Like, that's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, she is very strong later on in the game. I think that's about it for this. I would like to just throw up a deck list because I put it together myself. If I were running one, now I haven't actually made this deck myself, nor have I tested it, so improvements can probably be made. But I would definitely run something like that. See, mainly focuses on getting the Rapunzel combo off, but also spamming out, but also trying to flip as early as possible. I like it. I like this ruler. Like, she is something that I have never seen a Snow White deck. Personally, I have never seen her. Like, it's weird. I guess she just was overlooked because of her not having abilities on her ruler side, but she's so strong, especially before Black Moonbeam. Like, when there was no real way to kill a J Resonator besides damage, she would have been near impossible to get rid of. But, we'll see. But, I don't know, maybe, like, if you were around during that time, maybe you can enlighten me as to why she wasn't used. Probably just Grim was stronger. Probably because he has his front side ability, or because he's only the ruler side and he can cycle out all his guards. But other than that, let me know your opinions of this deck, things you would do differently. Like, I'm always looking for new deck ideas, like any sort of Apple spam or sort of Snow White centric deck I would love to see down in the comments below. Aside from that, I had a lot of fun looking up the cards for this deck, and I hope you guys had a lot of fun from me explaining it and going over the cards that I think would be good in it. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye-bye!